Hello everyone, I'm glad to see you on my English channel for my students at the school 17. Today we're going to roll up our sleeves and practice with the second conditional. Firstly, we're going to talk about the meaning, when and why you should use the second conditional. Then we're going to look at what it looks like, what words, what tense, what punctuation are important to help you use the second conditional correctly. Then I've got a few important extra tips to help you use the second conditional. Alright, let's get started with this lesson. When can you use the second conditional? We use it in a few ways. To imagine that our lives or someone else's life is different. We use it to ask hypothetical questions, to give advice, and to give reasons why you can't do something. Well, let's start with the number one. We use the second conditional to talk about things in the future that are unlikely or things that are impossible in the present. So we use it to imagine and to dream that the present situation is different than it really is. Now this could be because it's impossible now or because it's really unlikely to become real in the future. Not completely impossible, but unlikely. So with the second conditional, we say if this happened, then that would happen. So for example, if I had enough money, I would buy a house. If the present situation was different, then I would do that. If I won the lottery, I'd buy a house. Now, this is an unlikely event in the future, right? Because it's unlikely. I'm gonna win the lottery. Possible, but unlikely. Before we keep going with the other ways to use the second conditional, let's spend a little bit of time focusing on what it looks like. Conditional sentences all have an if clause and a main clause, which is sometimes also called the result clause, because it can only happen if the if clause occurs. It's a conditional, right? If this happens, then that happens. Now, what exactly makes a conditional sentence the second conditional? So, the second conditional uses a past simple verb in the if clause, when would followed by the infinitive verb in the main clause. If she lived in London, she would have English friends. The if clause is the condition. Does she live in London? No, we're talking about hypothetical situation here, right? So the result clause suggests what would be different and would tell us that we imagine the result, or she would have English friends. It's not real. She doesn't have English friends now, but it could happen if she lived in London. Now, you can definitely make one of both clause negative in the second conditional sentence. If I didn't want to go, I would tell you. If I didn't finish my homework, I wouldn't tell my teacher. And of course, we can ask second conditional questions too. Hypothetical question to ask someone to imagine what they would do in a different situation. If you won $1 million, would you travel the world? As for me, I exactly would. Also, you can actually use could in the if clause to ask a similar question, so you would be saying if you were able to, or if it were possible to. If you could travel to any country, where would you go? Now, note that when you use could in the if clause, the verb that follows could is in the infinitive form, not in the past simple. And that's because it's a modal verb, right? Now, we've been talking about hypothetical situations so far, but what are these other uses? Because we can use the second conditional to give advice. And if you think about it, when someone asks you for advice, you usually try to imagine what you would do in their situation and share that with them. So, for example, if I were you, I'd break up with him. Now, if you're wondering why, in this example I was using were with the subject I, I'm going to talk about that now. We can actually use were instead of was with I, he, she, it, right? Both of them are grammatically correct, but I guess were is a little more formal, right? So we would use it in a more formal situations. If I was you, I would break up with him. If I were you, I would break up with him. Both of these sentences are the same. So, one more time. If I were you is a bit formal. If I was you, it's less formal. If I were you, I would stay at home because of quarantine. If I was you, I would stay at home because of quarantine. So, I'm guessing that your grammar brain is a little fried right now. Thanks for watching, friends. So, I will see you. Goodbye.